May the Spirit of the Lord bless you all. A very good morning. It's a pleasure to be back with you in this program, A New Chance. Today we're going to bring to you the story of Josiana Oliveira, that she had an encounter with God by receiving the Holy Spirit. And when the person receives the Holy Spirit, the person receives a new life. Because, you know, my dear friends, sometimes you are there on the other side and you came to the conclusion that your problem is because of your financial situation. Your problem is because of your love life. Your problem is because of the depression that you carried inside of them. And actually, these problems are the cause of your suffering. But the only way for you to solve these problems is to have the Spirit of God. Because if you don't have the Spirit of God inside of you, the tendency is that comes problem after problem. I'm not meaning that people don't have problems, because perhaps you may say, so you say that those who have the Holy Spirit, they don't have problems. Of course they have, everyone has. But when you have the Holy Spirit, you have the peace of God inside of you and the power to resolve and to solve all your problems. Watch careful for the testimony of the Josiane Oliveira, and we'll be back with you straight after.
I am a call center director. I had a dream when I was a young kid to become a lawyer. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. So I studied really, really hard, and that was something that I had very closely to my heart. However, prior to me going to college, someone had said to me, "You're not going to make it into university." And I don't know what happened after that. I started paying attention to those words, and I started believing it. And when I went to college, I just couldn't learn. So I went from someone that was really, really intelligent to someone that just couldn't learn anything. Because of that, I started to feel really inferior, and I started to feel really, really sad, and I started to feel into some sort of a depression. Then I started hanging out with different guys. I would just hang out with different guys because my friends were doing that. So we started doing a lot of those bad things, a lot of drinking, a lot of bad things. And then I ended up getting pregnant. But at the same time, I had no job, no money. I had to move from apartment to apartment because I couldn't afford. So sometimes I would just pack up my bags and move out of that apartment because I couldn't pay for it. And I would just get another apartment, and knowing that I didn't have the money to pay for that one too. I couldn't afford heat. I couldn't afford electricity. I couldn't afford food. So we would be hungry all the time. I used to go to a church down the street that they used to give out canned foods, canned goods. Some days there would be whatever leftovers we would have in the fridge. If it got bad or grew some sort of mold, we would take it out. My mom and I would remove the mold, recook it, and eat it because we would be so hungry there was nothing else for us to eat. My mother had already started to go to church prior to her coming to live with me. So the day when I was suffering so much and I realized I needed help, and my mother had given me the word, I said to myself, what do I have to lose? I've lost everything. Let me just go to church with my mom. So I made the decision to go with her. When I went to church with my mom, the first thing I heard the pastor talk about was to be faithful to God. I started to ask myself, how do I be faithful to God if I don't even have a job? What am I supposed to do? And on that same day, the pastor had talked about having a relationship with him and also to be faithful in your tithe. He didn't say, here's, a bag of rice or anything like that. He just says, here's an envelope. You need to learn to be faithful to God, and you need to be a faithful tither. And you have to put God first. So I said to myself, Lord, from today on, I'm going to put you first. And if I put you first, I know you're going to take care of me. When I left that day, I went looking for a job. And because I had made the decision that going forward, I was going to be faithful to God, I walked the streets because I didn't have a car. And I was able to knock on different places until I found someone that was in need of a translator. And they gave me a job right there and then. So that was my first job. And there was that first time I had gone to church. I started to hear the pastor talk about the Holy Spirit, and he would talk about what was the purpose and the need. Why did we need the Holy Spirit? And I started to understand that I needed to have that in order for me to change my life. We had done the service, when I first went to the Temple of Solomon. I knew that many people would say, oh, she's going into tourism. I looked at it as this is my opportunity, this is my chance. I'm going there to have this encounter with God. I knew that I was going to. Now, I could have had it here, it could have happened anywhere, but because I had prepared for that moment and I had been waiting for it, I knew that it was just a matter of God just sealing me and saying, here's, you've received me, you've received the Holy Spirit. And like I said, it was an experience that I could sit here all day and talk about it, but I would never be able to put into words and put into perspective for someone else to really understand how it is. From someone that was very selfish, when I see someone hurt, I feel for them as well. Things like I would never be able to apologize before the people, never. That was something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to ever do that. Today, it's something that's very easy for me to do. My opinions, my views are totally different from what they were before. As far as my love life, he was another challenge that I had to face because he also didn't come to the church. So for a very long time, it was a struggle, but I had the strength in this time to fight for him until he then came to Christ himself. So from somebody that did not like the church, he was very, very against me coming to the church. He was against everything I did. Today, he spends more time in the church if he can than I do. We have a happy life. We don't argue at home. We're happy. Sometimes I used to think that I have to depend on someone, the same way I was thinking that depending in the church to go get the food. But the pastor started teaching us how to, once you become faithful tither and once you, open your vision, things change. You're no longer going to depend on anybody. So that little bit of food stamps that the government was giving me, I no longer wanted that. I wanted bigger things. I wanted different things. Today, when I go to a call center and I tell them, here's what I'm going to do for you, I determine what my pay is going to be. So they don't tell me how much they're going to pay me. I tell them, here's what you're going to pay me. From somebody that didn't have a car, I drive a Cadillac. So I change cars whenever I want to. If I want to change my car tomorrow, I can go ahead and switch it up. My greatest blessing is the Holy Spirit. I mean, I've been in the church for 14 years now. I never left because I just see growth. All the desert, all the difficulties, the trials, tribulations that I've had, they just made me stronger. And I just keep going forward because I know that God is with me and He's always going to help me through whatever situation that I'm going through. I wouldn't trade Him for nothing in this world.
We are back with you, my dear friend, and the same way that the life of this lady changed, your life can change as well. We are asking the people to write down on the piece of paper this week what is causing you to be far from God, what is causing you, your heart to be in pain, your heart to be, leading you. Sometimes you are carrying an anger inside of you that you can't control. Sometimes you are carrying inside of you a sadness that you can't control, a depression, grudges inside of you, something that you know that is wrong by God's eyes, but sometimes you don't have the strength to give it up. Maybe you are a Christian, and maybe you would like to attend the church, you'd like to come to the church, but since the pandemic starts, you didn't have the courage to come back, and for a long time that you don't take part of one of our service with us. You're not going to write down on a piece of paper the cause of your suffering, and you're going to bring it this coming Sunday. 11 o'clock in the morning, we'll be here waiting for you at the Birger Jarlsgatan 106. Okay, but if you cannot wait for Sunday, today, Wednesday, we are here waiting for you because every Wednesday we have the School of Faith. If you'd like to know more information about our times, you can visit our website, www.uckg.sc. We have a branch here in Stockholm. We have also in Gothenburg, where we are every Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning and also at 12:30. And you can see all the details about us in our website, okay? Was a pleasure to be with you. May the Lord bless you. And the same way that the life of that lady changed, your life will change as well in the moment that you give your step of faith. So don't wait anymore. Give your step of faith and decide to be happy. Have a good day.
The Ministry of the Holy Spirit is the newest book from Bishop Adir Macedo. This book will help you understand who is the Holy Spirit, what can he do, and why we need him. Is an excellent choice for those who want to have an intimate communion with God. This book will serve as a manual to know him in all his plenitude. The Ministry of the Holy Spirit.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.